All right, 3:30 Eastern, Trade Ideas Live Q&A. Going live here. See a few people pile in right away. For anybody that's new to the stream here, this is a live Q&A I do every day at 3:30 Eastern. It's an open forum. Talk some scanning, some charts, whatever trading related to stocks that you like. I don't ever come with any pre-prepared content, so I hope that you all come with questions that you like answered about the platform, about trade ideas in general, and that kind of drives the content for us on the afternoons here. So give it a moment here before we get rolling. And you know what? Let me change resolution on my screen a little bit for you all. Make that a little clearer, a little bigger. There we go. Up our resolution game a little bit here. And we'll size it back appropriately. Kind of a bummer on the day with Holly. She really didn't alert much of anything. Don't really have an answer for that. I guess that happened a few weeks ago too, though. So nothing we haven't seen. And then, of course, after she did that, she went on quite a tear for a few weeks. So maybe she's loading back up here. All right, get this nice and adjusted. That looks good to me. Even scoot that a little bit more that way, I think. There we go. So again, Trade Ideas Live Q&A. It's an open forum Q&A. I don't come with any pre-done content. I appreciate it when you all are engaging, asking questions, creating dialogue, creating conversation, driving the content. I think it's a little better and more intuitive for users to get the most out of the platform here. So, but with that said, I will come up with something to talk about in the meantime while I wait for anybody to make any questions or comments here. So, I mentioned Holly. She just really didn't have anything going today for whatever reason. The algos weren't firing. Sometimes, we get a big gap one way or the other, and that'll cause an issue. So I have to make a guess here, have to surmise as much that this mess that we've been in here, I bring over SPY chart, 15-minute SPY chart, looking at some different days here on this. Let me get my drawing tool. And we see, this back here is where we had all-time highs, and we start to just get this kind of choppy downturn here, and, call it a pullback or whatever you want. I mean, there's all-time highs, and, we touch down here. So relative scale, not exactly much on the pullback. But what Holly does is every night she starts to optimize and back test. And the more the market starts to move one way, the more she'll start to back test that way for that time period. So, we've got a little over a week here that we're moving more in this direction. So that means our optimizations and back tests have moved towards that way. So then today we get a little bit of a gap up. I don't think that's anything massive necessarily, but it catches her off balance here. So she's been optimizing and back testing more to the short side. And a way that we can show you that is in the strategies that she comes with for the day. So each day after optimizing and back testing, she comes that next day with the strategy she's going to use. And if we look at what we came with today, we came with 3 longs and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shorts out of 9 strategies that she had back tested and optimized that made the cut today. Although I might have to take a look or ask for someone to look in the back end how the heck that breakout long made that cut, considering that win percentage and profit factor. In fact, I'm going to make a note of that now. Maybe there's something I don't know that changed, which I highly doubt, but anything's possible. So just going to snap a quick screenshot there of that. Send that off to mine's greater than mine. Anyway, so, when you come leaning that much short and you get a gap up and then a move, It's not just a gap up, but let's zoom back in a little bit here. A gap up and mostly a drift going that way for the better balance of the day. That's the results that you get. We topped out up here just over 460, whatever that happened to be. As we move back down here again, this 457 line in the SPY that we just can't seem to get away from like a magnet. So chop, 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 range, 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 and then that's the name of the game for now. It looks like. So all right, taking a look at the questions panel here. I don't see anything coming in yet. You see, we're all still a little shy here. Sorry, just sent off a message just to see what anybody has to say. Anyways, that's that. So, we can talk about the couple of Holly alerts, but there really just isn't much to talk about here. This SPPI, uh, you know, there's the alert, moves down here, and you're literally talking a couple of cents. Based on the range filters that were in here, you're looking at that as a target and that as a stop. So it's really tight stop, really tight target. It is what it is. It's how the algo saw it. Stock is certainly in a downtrend. Nothing bullish about that chart at all whatsoever, but it is what it is, and that's what it saw. And that's that. And then we had Raymond James, I believe this is right. Yeah, Raymond James Financial. A later alert for Holly, and nothing great, nothing terrible here. We get the alert here. Makes a nice couple of minute move that's up there. It was up, I don't know, 40 some odd cents. On a 90 something dollar stock, almost $100 stock. Not great, not terrible, just kind of is what it is. And, make of it what you will. She had a couple of really, really great weeks in a row after something similar that happened like this for a couple of days. So perhaps we're setting up for that again. I don't recall off the top of my head if the market had been leaning one way or the other and then came back and shot back the other way. And that's what had caused that in those days. So we'll keep an eye and we'll see what happens in the coming days with that. So that's, the very, very short and very, very skinny of Holly today. Some things that I was watching today. I just wasn't convicted enough to pull the trigger on anything. And it looks like maybe that was the right call on some of these, not the right call on others. So something I was looking at today, ACVA, had a price alert set here at about 2180. And I thought when we did that move there, I was like, all right, well, I blew that one, because I'm watching this here and I watched it base out for a little bit. And, what do you mean by based out, Chris? Well, this is what I mean. Let's, a little zoom out view here. All right, there we go. So it's a newer issue. So there's, at the top of the range here for this newer issue. And I see this move right here. And I thought to myself, all right, this is a pretty significant line. We've been battling that line. We have this as immediate resistance right here and there. And I thought if we can get the market a little bit on our side, which we kind of had for a little bit today, just didn't feel like there's conviction in it. Maybe we're taking a shot up to this level here. I'll put a 20 as my stop is kind of where my thoughts went to. Just didn't happen to go that way. That's all there was to it. So I did not take the trade, fortunate. And fortunate for me, I had to leave for a few moments to pick up the kid from school. And that's where I was looking at the trade, all through back here. That move as I was leaving for a little bit to get the kid, I'm like, oh, well, missed that one maybe. We'll see if it gives me a shot to enter tomorrow, how it closes today. And, well, floor fell out. So happy accident, not taking that one. That kind of is what it is. IMPP, how many times was that thing halted? I don't know because I don't never look at halts, to be honest with you there, Perfect Circle. Let's take a look. IMPP, and for some reason I don't have indicators on my charts here. Properties, show indicators. That's odd. Not sure what happened there. IMPP, what the heck is that? Wow, this is just a strange looking chart. This is, I know it's going to be an error because of that bug that I have in my charts, probably why the intraday charts look like the garbage, but, or maybe not. They just look like garbage. How do you even trade something like that? Oh, it's a sub-dollar stock? My goodness. Well, that is just something weird and weird and weird. We have no data on it whatsoever. Obviously, some kind of new issue. Yeah, that's just weird. I could make absolutely no comment on that other than that's extremely interesting to say the least. Anyways, so Joan, is that Joan Fabrics? Yeah, what a call. Interesting. What do I think of Joan? All right, well, apparently a newer issue as well. Yeah, interesting. All right, feel like they've been around forever. I just feel like that's not much chart data for as long as I've known Joan Fabrics. I don't know. It's a low float. We got short float, really, really heavily bet on that, and it's got a short growth on it too. So they continue to bet this thing to go down. Earnings are past it. Made an okay earnings move, obviously, off that right there, and starting to pull back to the mean after being really beaten down. I mean, just really beaten down. No edge on this. Obviously, $10 psychological level. Could not get through that whatsoever. That was a total trap above 10. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. They've been around forever, and they only IPO'd in April. It doesn't make any sense to me. What do I know? I mean, what do they go SPAC to like everybody else? Quilter's got a quilt. That's right. We got to stay warm in these cold months here in the Northeast for me. Anyways, and look, there's not really much to comment on it. I mean, couldn't get through 10. It's just falling knife nonstop. It had some sort of pop off of earnings. Maybe to see some Christmas tailwind with people buying sewing kits for Christmas or something. Like, oh, here's a kit of sewing a pillow together with the kids or something. I don't know. We have a virtual company get together. Some of the people that are together out in California will be together, and the rest of us that are remote across the country, part of a Zoom call, we're actually doing some kind of sewing project together. So I don't know, just kind of interesting that comes up as a conversation now. But regardless of that, on the chart, $10 there. I mean, $12 here. Can't even get through the $10 here, and then you got all this resistance that's coming up here. So there's really there's not a lot to comment unless it has some kind of major news or some kind of major catalyst. 500,000 shares traded really isn't much of anything to write home to mom about at this point. And 1.63 on the relative, 1.64 on the relative volume. It's going to probably take a tick up as we go into the close, because the close on relative volumes weighted a little heavier on top of volume just always picks up into the close regardless. So really nothing to comment on that chart. There's just nothing there. So that's that. Some shippers that had popped up on my radar today. This is one. Made a nice move, and you see I had a price alert here. I had no conviction in this. It just, like I said, the market just isn't giving me the quote unquote buy signal if something isn't moving alpha to the rest of the market. Bigger picture of this chart, there are things that I like and things I don't like. I like that, but I don't like that. And if that does that there, obviously I won't like that. So kind of no real edge on it. Shippers were looking kind of okay last week. So BDRY, that's a shipping ETF that I look at. It had a decent week last week. All right, so you just wonder if they're playing catch up, some of the shippers, to all this. No real clear edge. That's Friday. That's today. So just kind of no real clear edge on the last couple of days there. But so that's Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, and that was last Friday. So last Monday we get that gap up and a nice little grind up all last week with the shippers. So anyways, that happened to be on my radar. I'm not sure if I got that from my evening scan or if I got that from the TI strength alerts. And then I was going through some alerts from one of those cross scans that I have going here that I watch, and that had Sting, which is another shipper, made an okay alert here. and a nice move percentage basis wise. But this is just a, beat up beyond belief. So how do you, other than taking that for a day trade there, hoping that it broke this kind of resistance area right there, there's really not much else there, looking at the top there. And so it's no coincidence that stalled and fell right there. It's a tall mountain to climb right there, and there just doesn't seem to be much to it. So, but just interesting, a few shippers have popped up to me. Wonder if that means, and noting what B Dry did last week. Who knows? Big holiday season possibly. Who knows what the retailers will report in January, February. When they start doing that, and I'm sure that will have some kind of relation with the shippers as well. Goods moving across the globe, so on and so forth. So, but I continue to monitor these cross scans for fun at this point, but just really nothing doing there as far as any of that goes. So just get rid of that. Home builders have been strong. So here's a home builder I was watching. Again, same thing. Just didn't pull the trigger. This one, wish I did. It's at all-time highs. Gotta love that. Taking out all-time highs again. Our stock composite rating has it looking strong. A little over a mil shares traded, doing about just over relative volume, normal relative volume here. But I like this here. I like that move inside the move inside the move. So, as I comment many times, that's what my eye likes. That's what I like to see. That's kind of patterns I like to trade on daily charts. So I'm biased to it. I see it even when it's not there, or even when it's questionable. I recognize that, and that's why I held off today. Between that and just wasn't sure about this market right now, and taking long positions. As I mentioned last week, you don't try to make up a year in a month. It's been an okay year for me, and we'll let December give us what it wants to give us, but just not going to rush anything. That's all there is to it. So those are some things that were on my radar today. Not much else to write home as far as what I had going on here today, other than some good old fashioned trade idea support. So again, I see the numbers go up and down here. It's an open forum here. I like it when you guys are asking the questions, driving the content. I'm happy to talk charts. Just always disclaimer, I'm not a chartered market technician, although I will start studying for the level 1 exam in the new year. Take that level 1 exam in June. So, I am moving towards that direction. Not that that means anything, listen to your own charts, listen to your own eye, listen to your own instincts. But, I'm really here to give support on the Trade Ideas platform, whether you're a subscriber and, you're just trying to figure something out, get the hang of something new with the platform, you want something demonstrated, or if you're someone who's just curious, what is Trade Ideas? You just simply ask that question. It's a question that can be answered for infinite amount of days and what we can do. So Kevin, LGVN, long or short thoughts. Let's take a look. LGVN. VN, not LGN, LGVEN. It's a stay away as far as I'm concerned. For now, anyways. So here's the thing. That's a huge run up to here. All right, from down here. You are going to have bag holders in this general area right here. And every time that this stock starts to make a move up, you better believe that that supply is going to meet that demand for now. Unless, now it's pharmaceutical, so who knows what kind of news they can have and things like that. And that could change the winds immediately. But I don't trade on news. I trade on the chart. And so this chart tells me there's boatload of bag holders up here. All right. We came from nowhere. It's just as easily and likely to go back down to nowhere. Now, chart wise, if this 20 moving average can come and catch this, and perhaps this 8 EMA can start to flatten out and curl itself back up, maybe even this 50 moving average starts to come up to meet some price, closer to some price action, then maybe you might have some kind of basing and a movement for that basing. I mean, you're talking holy cow low float right there. We're reporting 2.68 mil, and to steal from Barry, if you check 10 sources, you're going to find 10 different floats for it. But the regardless is, I suspect they're all going to be under 5 mil on the float, which means that this thing can turn on a dime, and it's not something you want to be caught on the wrong side of. So I wouldn't give it the edge to either one. I guess if you put a gun to my head, I mean, short. I mean, let's take a look. well, short float, but that this stuff probably hasn't been updated since this mess happened here. You probably have to wait till January to get an update on the short growth and short float. I can't see how there isn't a boatload of people that are probably also short it from up here and holding on to some of it down here. I mean, it seems reasonable to me. So that's kind of what I would say. Aside from that, I would let price action catch up to these faster moving averages between 20 SMA and 8 EMA or whatever it is that you happen to like. I just happen to like those two moving averages. There's nothing magic about those. The other thing I would say is note the fact that we traded 13 million shares today and it's doing, just a little more than 2 1/3 times its normal volume over 10 days. So, declining volume overall as all these days come around. And just seems like I would surmise as much that's a news driven stock more than anything else. That's my short and skinny on LGVN. Lonesome Dove, I want to back test buying stocks that are breaking out of cup and handle formation and holding for one day. How would I do that? I go back to that scan that I kind of shared with you last time. So if we load, let's try to load that scan. Let me find it. Cup and handle swing. When was the last time I worked on that? All right, so run the history here and let's just see kind of what this has got going here. That's not what I want to see. I have to go back here in my cloud for a second there, Lonesome Dove. But I want to find something that's an alert window that I was working on similar to that. I'm not smart with backtests. Well, it's not about being smart. It kind of just becomes figuring it out. It's not, there's no one way to slice it necessarily, but swing scan test. There we go. All right, so this is something I started working on last fall, actually. All right. Let's go into configure. All right, so this is pretty optimized, unfortunately. Distance from R1. Sorry, I'm just kind of going through what I was doing here and what I was thinking. All right, we're going to do something together. We're going to do an exercise together here. We're going to take my evening scan. No, we're not even going to do that. I already know that. All right, let's do this together. Anybody can follow along. If other people have questions, by all means, fire them away. But I'm going to run with this. Let's go to new. Let's go to alert window, okay? And we're going to go to selected alert. We're going to go to window specific filter. And we're going to get rid of everything that's in here. Get rid of all these values, all right? Then we're going to press hide unused. All right, so we're working with something clean. And we're going to go to use the alert catalyst. We're going to use something I've been using recently that I kind of like actually quite a bit is the breaking resistance or crossed above resistance. Where is it? Crossed above resistance, but I don't want the confirmed. Here we go. Crossed above resistance. We're going to add that alert. All right. It doesn't need a value here. We're going to select that alert. All right. That's the alert catalyst we're going to work with. All right. You're looking for cup and handle stuff. So let's go with position. And we're going to go with the 20-day range. That's my bread and butter. We're going to add that filter. And we want to see it 75% above the low of a 20-day range, okay? We also want to see it not higher than 100% above a 20-day range. Let's go with that number for now, all right? So that we're not looking at stuff that's too extended, all right? We're going to come back to search. And we're going to look at a position in 5-day range now. We're going to add that filter, okay? And we are going to give that, let's go with a 65 on this, and let's go with 100 again here. All right. Let's give us some price metrics. Let's go with a $8 minimum. Let's go with a $100 maximum. All right. So we got all that set to start with. Let's go. We want to make sure there's some volume that's going on in these stocks because we're looking at things that we're trying to swing. So we want to make sure that we're working pretty liquid here. So let's go with the 10-day. Let's go with volume. Let's go with a 10-day average on that volume. Let's add that filter. Let's find stuff that's doing 500,000 shares, at least an average, right? Did I do that right? This helps me. Yep, there we go. All right, now we're going to build this out, and this might not return us a lot of ideas to start with, but we're going to get a base strategy that we're working here. All right, so we're working with some position and range filters. Next thing you know, we don't want this thing taking stuff that's liquid either on any given day. So let's go with let's go with the 100K on shares. One, 2, 3. All right, so at least 100,000 shares have traded today, and let's see what else. Anything else that we should look at here? Let's go with the position in yesterday's range. So position in previous day's range. We're going to add that filter now. All right, and let's go with the. Start with 50%. All right. See, at least 50% above the low of yesterday's range. So, all right. So, what we're looking at here is stocks in between $8 and $100. They have to trade at least 100,000 shares today. It'd be 75% above the low of 20 days. We can't be 100% past that. 65 and 100 on the 5-day range. Average daily volume over the last 10 days of 500,000 shares. And we want to see that they are at least 50% above the low of yesterday, the previous trading day's range, not necessarily yesterday. All right, and we're going to call this building a swing algo. All right, and so we've got the beginnings of a window, and there we go. We're going to bring that over. Sorry, it loaded up on another screen for me when I clicked OK. All right, so we've got it here. Now we have to decide we're going to back test. All right, well, how are we going to back test this? What time are we going to enter trades? What time are we going to exit trades? All right, or what time are we going to stop entering trades? So we'll run it. Let's run it right from, let's say, a 10 o'clock start. Let's get rid of some of the early head fakes. We'll run it right up into the close. All right, and we got a timed exit going on here, and so you want to holding for 1 day. So we want to sell it at market. Do we want to sell it at market open or close? Those are 2 options. So we can go with we'll sell it at the market open the day after tomorrow or tomorrow. Let's go the day after tomorrow. Let's go a day plus hold. All right. And let's keep in mind, this has not exactly been a swing trading environment that we've been in for the last, let's say 20 days or so, 15 trading days, give or take. So, it's going to be a little tough as far as the back testing goes on this right now. But it is what it is. Let's go with some risk management here. Since we are just at the beginning of this, when I start my back testing and optimizing, I don't do any profit targets. And since we don't need a stop loss either, we're just going to open it right up. We're going to come here, and more data, the better, I always say. So let's open that right up. We got 64 days max right now is what we're working at. And so that's what we got. All right. And let's go to summary. And here we are. So we've got initiating trades in between 10 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Eastern. We're selling on the open after 1 day. All right. And there's no other conditions other than we're testing for 64 days, the maximum that we can test. We're going to hit buy. And we're going to let that run. We're going to see what it returns us. And I skipped the part about it being kind of cup and handle-ish. There's no way to say, hey, show me cup and handles. But the idea behind this is trying to find things that are cup and handles. So nothing special. So what I know is that those values that I gave it for position and range kind of give us cup and handle looks. So I'm going to put this to the side real quick. All right. And just let's look at some of the charts that might have come through here recently. All right. Let's bring this out of the way. Zoom out a little bit. And so this isn't the best cup and handle scenario. However, you got this base that formed in here, and then you've got this thing here. So shallow cup with the real tall handle, it's more of a ladle. We'll call it a ladle then instead of a cup. But that is what it is. Let's go with all right. I want to change the linking on the symbol linking there. I want to lose my SPY chart. Let's see what K. We've got these alerts that are coming in now. All right, so this didn't give us at all what we wanted, unfortunately. As a matter of fact, let's do something here with this. Bit of history. Let's go to all and let's just see what's coming through here. Here's Marvell now. So let's see, BLDR, what do you look like? So you can see the kind of stuff that it's attempting to find, this stuff here. All right, based on those position range filters. So, in order to get that a little bit more, we'll have to play with those specific filters aside from the optimization, trying to find those patterns. Because like I said, we don't have that as a pattern recognition. I mean, I don't know that anybody really does. Well, let's just see how close some of these are. All right. So, interesting. So this is one that I was already talking about looking at. So, you've got this kind of base area here and then building on that base. So this is where the 20-day range comes in. This is more where the 5-day range comes in. All right. And, you can play with those too. You can go with the 3-month position, 3-month range, and with a position in 20-day range if you want. You don't have to stick to what I've done there either. Let's look at a few more of these charts here, and then we'll head into the optimization part. This is going to be an ETF, I have a feeling. Yeah. But, found kind of the pattern that we want, this kind of way move down here and then this move here. All right. So we're finding charts that we are similar to what we want anyway. Hasbro. Again, we're finding these moves here. I get my drawing tool to work. We're finding these kind of moves there. Mountain berries all over that. What is it? SPPI or not SPPI? What is it? ISIG. All right. Let's see. Was this Kroger? Yeah, Kroger. Again, we continue to find some of these patterns that we want to here. So, similar patterns to what we're trying to find here. It's not an exact science, unfortunately, but we're finding them. All right. So, all right, so that's the base of it. So we have something that's at least workable as far as that goes. If there was a perfect one, yes, there would be. So you can do that. So what we can do is let's come to, where's that tab? Odds maker tab, bring you back up. What we can do, we can come into the calendar here. And we can look at, on these bad losing days, and we can open this up and we can look at these trades and see, what was really bad, gross power. That's, here's some real bad stuff, STLD, and here's what that looks like. This bug is going to drive me out of my mind on these charts. So we got to come way back here actually to look at this, but you can do that, and you see a top ticket, and top ticket with the market doing what it's doing. Now, generally speaking, 1, 2, 3, looked like it was prime ready to come back up through 70 and take a shot at the 71, 72 level there, whatever that is. But the market said no. That's the end of that. So, kind of being one of those things that given the environment that we're in, it's just going to find a lot more like that. So that's why looking back at the biggest losers may not always, what you're trying to do. But what I do in the optimization tab is, you can start where you want. So first things I start, let's look at the summer here. Is it anything that's worth building on? I'm not sure. It's not exactly ideal on profit factor, to say the least. Win percent is like, okay, if you've got a good win percent, that's fine. If you got a okay win percent with a great profit factor, that's what you really want. And then the next thing I look at is this daily chart here. And we can see that this is bad. This is not good. All right. That right there, that's not what you want to see. But just for the exercise of doing this all the same, we'll move over to the optimizations tab. All right. And we start to look and see where have we done better. And we can see, wow, later trades were definitely better on this than most of the early trades. All right. So we start to say to ourselves, now, almost all the trades are early, unfortunately. You can see the total trades here. So you might want to say to yourself, a lot of people are big, buying on the close and selling on the open type of stuff. So maybe we start to look at another way of doing this and say to ourselves, maybe we want to look at an algo or create an algo that's more trying to buy in that last hour and see how that kind of works better. Now, doing that with this, we're going to cut out 90% of the trades because, look, there's 3,500 of the, what is it, 4,000 trades. 4,900 trades. So 3,900 of the 400 trades or whatever it is are in, unfortunately, this one section right here. And then you have the rest of the balance here. So you're leaving yourself, a little over 100 trades or so right here, about 100 trades right here. But it is what it is. If you're trying to really make a swing algo, how many trades do you want it taking anyway? So these are things to consider. Do you really want an algo that you're letting run, taking 40 trades in a day? That's a lot. Unless your idea is I'm not sure if you're going for automation or idea generation on this. So how would you tell that to buy the last hour only? I would optimize the scan two ways. In the optimization of the scan, when we run this back test again, so if we run this back test again, we go to, not configure, we go to back test and initiate trades in between. Let's say we don't initiate a trade till 2 o'clock. All right. And then if we decide, we're going to simulate the buy just for fun. And then if we decide that's what we want, that looks good. Now we can come here and we go configure and time of day. So search, time of day. And now, however many minutes that is after the open. So add that filter, 2 o'clock is going to be what? Sorry, I'm terrible at math. We're looking at 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30. So it's 270 minutes after the open. So now we could say, don't start this until 270 minutes after the open on this strategy. I'm sorry, we want that minimum, not maximum. All right. And that's how we tell it not to do any trading whatsoever. Not to do any trading whatsoever until that time period, so that's how we would do that there. All right. Let me get rid of some of those drawings and how we can, make a comparison with some stuff here. Let's back test that after adding that filter. And yes, Dan, you nailed it. 270. Took me a minute to use multiples of 60 to get there. And a summary and a summary. Take a look at these equity curves. And, not a whole lot of difference that's going on in all this here. So, we just haven't been in the market for swing trading to start with anyways. Very similar on those charts. This one didn't lose quite as much, I guess we can say, based on that optimization. Not really, Rob. We have NYSE imbalance. So we come to configure. So NYSE imbalance, buy and sell based on percent of daily volume, and that'll be an average of 10 days. That's what we have to show there, Battalion Rob. But as far as imbalances go, that's it. Nothing else. Nothing from the NASDAQ or the ARCA or the Amex. So, but that's where you're going to want to start, Lonesome Dove, as far as all that goes. There's a lot to go in through here as far as the optimizations go. So it's not just time. Look, if we look at the price, we can see that, none of these prices were working on a $10 interval. We can knock this down to a $5 interval here. All right. We can start to break these things down a little bit more. Some major thought that I've had about automation recently is, what if you had strategies that only ran for an hour, 45 minutes, entering trades, that's it. Um, I think a lot of the, I think people find more success in trading in general when they're initiating trades, let's say in between 20 and 25 minutes after market open, and stop a little bit before noon ish Eastern times. And then they start initiating those trades again, let's say in between 2:15 and 2:45, and the close. It just, there's more action, there's more volume, there's more direction, there's more conviction in the buying and selling that goes on in those times versus the lunchtime, that lunchtime hour, long lunchtime hour. Yeah, you're very welcome, Battalion Rob. Any other questions? Fire them away too. Don't hesitate. Um, so, these are things that you might want to look at as well when trying to optimize these things. That the next set is, like I said, we have price and time of day that we can optimize by. You can go by symbols here, all right, showing top 10 like this. Um, we can go by winning percent and profit factor. We can look at these different things in this chart here, okay? And then the next thing we could do, obviously, is come to other filters. And then here's the deepest rabbit hole you'll ever get into in trade ideas. Is coming through every one of these filters and see how they play a role. All of a sudden, is there something to do with an SMA? Taking the trade above a certain SMA. So, just for example, if we are using a 20 period SMA, what does this look like here? And we can see, the distance from the SMA, how this is working out with these trades here. That's kind of a ridiculous number to go with, but there we go. Instead of 20, start to break this down. All right, your change from the 20-day SMA and how this looks like on all these here. I don't really almost short at all, Kevin, so I don't have a favorite shorting scan. I would direct you to, if you're looking to try to short channel bar, I would direct you to this here somewhere, Traders Vault. Take a look in here on the Traders Vault, and there's definitely some shorting scans that are in there for you to have a look at. And the going down here, those are the first places I would direct you. And then I would open up the configures of those like any other scan, right click, configure, and see what you think of what the configuration says to you, and then run them for a day or two and see what's going on. Then maybe there's things you want to alter and change in there. But those are the things you're going to want to look at, Lonesome Dove. Trust me, I've been down a swing trading algo hole for 4 years now. And I get so far, and then I kind of just have to back off for a while. Who knows, maybe in the colder months here, I'm stuck inside, I'll start to hit that kind of thing again. Yeah, you're welcome, Kevin. And I'll let me see if any of the other traders have some shorting scans. See if anybody pops in with a message for me here as far as that goes. But I would say it's a long process creating any algo. All right. And so the first step is, if you're really trying to find a chart pattern, especially because we just don't do chart patterns like that. But obviously, in these Q&As, I've shown ways that we can come up with stuff like that. The first is to either work an alert window, or even better, a top list, to try to find those patterns. I always take it back to, as far as the cup and handle goes, my evening scan. The only issue with my evening scan here is that, and I'll go ahead and share this because I see there's, a few people in here. I don't know how many have been in here before, how many haven't. So first I'll share this, and then I'll bring over the scan. And I think the reason why I think a top list is great to start with building any algo is because it doesn't take a lot of work to put together a top list to find out, are you even finding charts that make sense and you like, instead of going down all these rabbit holes of trying to build the scan and back testing and all that. And then you find, what, I don't even like what I'm seeing here from these charts now that I'm looking at the charts. All right. So in this scan here, all I'm doing is looking at stocks in between $4 and $30, relative volume, meaning they got to be doing about their average over 10 days, volume weighted heavier at the open and close. 750,000 shares minimum on the day traded, because relative volume is obviously relative to that particular stock and what it normally trades. So add an extra volume confirmation for myself in here. And I want to see it 75% above the low of the 20-day range and 75% above the low of 2 days range. And that's going to return me stuff that looks like this that I have no interest in whatsoever. But I just like to see these. I want to see this stuff, these crazy spikes. I just do like to look at them. Not that I'm odds of me trading them are about 0%. That's a buyout. But then, I'm also trying to find stuff that looks like, maybe I'll find something here. Kind of horseshoe ups like this. All right. So more looking at the pattern than just the resistance that's going on here. But, that's the stuff that I'm looking for with this scan. I do like it when it's going to return me stuff that looks more like going to be something so like this. This is beautiful. This is a great example. And it happens to be on my liked list already. The problem is getting a scan that only shows you things like that. That's just, that's where the tough part comes in. But, I start with some position and range filters. Now, we can collaborate this over into an alert window and take it to, another step here. And then we could say, oh, well, it's, been obeying this well, we don't have an EMA, but it's been obeying this SMA. And, all right, yeah, we don't have an EMA for a filter, but we come into the configure, we got, a number of SMAs to work with here and on time frames. All right. So, figure out, going through some charts and what looks good and what's had some carry through. And, these, change from 8 period on a 60-minute, 10 period on a 5-minute, 10 period on a 60-minute, so on and so forth. There's a number of them in here that you can use. And so these are things that, just kind of spitballing thoughts and ideas going on here about how I would look for, just starting to create the basis of a scan like this, and turning it into that algo. And literally the cup and handle type swings, or whatever you want to call it, that I had created way back when, last year, that I was working on, they started with, this was the base of it. And then I started messing with it from there. And, like I said, you can, they have an evolution afterwards. So this is, the earliest version I have of that. I'm going to load it here. So this is the earliest version of that. And this literally came from collaborating this top list into this. And then I start optimizing some stuff. All right. And that's where, I had thought of, well, I don't want it too extended on a position in 20-day range. And, I want to see it moving too fast off 120-minute change, and, some volatility stuff that I put in here. I put an S&P. It's another thing, a lot of these swing trades, they're going to be market dependent, market chopping sideways, like in a medium range. Some of these might work. When you get some of the moves that we've had up and down recently, probably going to find less stuff working. So I put an S&P filter in here. Just no limit to what you can really do. This, I put a really tight price range on. I'm sure it had to do with optimization purposes. So that's the short and skinny of that. I can share any of these things like this. You're welcome to, I'll share this out. I don't know that it's really worth anything at this point. Like I said, I haven't looked at it in a long time. This was me, like, probably the second day that I was optimizing this. So, but give you some templates to work off of, and hopefully some of those thoughts that I'm kind of just spitballing out here for you, set you in a decent direction to start messing around. It's not all just going to be optimization, because you can get over optimized, and I'm going to show you what I mean by over optimize right after I share this. So if anybody wants, this is something that I was attempting to work on. Like I said, I was trying to create a swing algo that was working off of this my liked. And again, the my liked is, kind of finding, some of these cup and handle like moves. It's just that, you get what might have been a cup here, and, I'm not really going to call that a handle here. I mean, it isn't what would be ideal to look for as far as that kind of pattern. But see if we can find anything else. But the idea is, this kind of move here, and then hoping that you got to move up here above that. So, but this one was more looking at, you know, this move down here, and now this move up here, and that's found. So um, that's that. Now, to cover what I mean by over optimization, I have this scan that I thought I was like, ooh, I'm really onto something here. All right. Nope. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Let's look at, whoops. Where are you, scan? There we go. All right. So I have this scan that I built. And when I first had back tested it and optimized it, I was like, holy cow, I might be onto something here. It wasn't hitting home runs, but it was, having some, good steady winning days in a row. And then I decided I was done optimizing it. Now I'm going to let it run and see what the results are running. And all of a sudden the scan completely fell apart just running because it was optimized for the period of time specific and didn't hold water moving forward. And so it becomes one of those things where sorry, I'm getting messages about that shorting question, trying to pull some ideas from the guys here. So now this has been going for a while. So now you can see where it went live, when I started running it and stopped optimizing it. And look at that beautiful move. Now this move was much more extended before, market data unfortunately goes off because our back test only goes about 64 days back. Now you can see it, made this one other big move like this, and then you can see it play out here in this daily here. So that's what I mean by over optimizing. And you have this beautiful setback here, right? Look how great that is. And then it just really isn't holding any water here. And it's got an okay win rate, 52%. The profit factors, but then you had this one massive day, and that one massive day is what all of a sudden makes the equity curve look okay again right through here. I'll continue to let it run and see what happens, but I just, it's over optimized. And then so to finish off what I mean by over optimize is if we come into the configure and we go to window specific filters, I mean, look at, this is all stuff that I added to it based on optimizing all through here. Let's hide the unused. And I mean, you can see I have a massive amount of filters in here that have all been, gone through over and over and over again. So I got something I'm going to share here for someone that was asking for. Sorry, my computer is just locking up right now. Just too much stuff running at once. I was asking about shorting. So Andy shared this for me for shorting. It's called Extreme Carnage, I think. Carnage, something like that. So that's Extreme Carnage. So these are some shorting scans that he shared. The first one he said is more of kind of some swing thoughts and some shorting. The second one, more shorting ideas for you there. So whoever's asking for those before, I think Kevin. Yeah, Kevin. So there's a few shorting scans for you. So you can see what I did here, anyways. With this and just simply over optimize. That's it. Now this scan that I did, it's built on a custom filter that I put together, trying to find crosses. Actually, trying to find a 5 SMA crossing a 20 SMA on a 5-minute chart. So that's this kind of custom filter that's there. So, I like cross alerts. I think there's promise in them. Do I think that's the holy grail and whatever of a scan? Nope, I don't at all. I just, happen to like it. So that's what I was, shooting for. Yeah, you're welcome, Kevin, of course. So that was what I was shooting for. I still kind of, feel some promise in cross alerts. So I continue to mess around. So I built a different scan based on that same filter. And it's this one here. And I continue to I didn't really optimize almost anything on this, other than by time of day, and that's really it. And so simulate by, and we can see what this looks like here. And so we'll see on this one. I started running it live. I want to say here ish, give or take. And so, not really much on that equity curve since I started running it. All right. So we'll see, had a nice equity curve here at the beginning. Like I said, I didn't really do much optimization on this whatsoever. We've been in a wicked choppy market again. It's, we could call what we had a pullback. I guess, I don't know. When you start pulling up, weekly charts and stuff like that, I mean, it's hard to call what we have a pullback. It's not to say it can't get real ugly real fast, because it happens like that, like a thief in the night. I'm just, I'd like to keep things relative. The other thing that I liked about this one was, it's continued since I have, started running. It's had some okay days on the larger side still, but it's also had some really crappy days, large on the downside too. So, things that I look at, winning days, losing days in a row, stuff like that. So I'll continue to let it run and see what happens. If there's promise there, great. And if there isn't, all part of the game that we play here. So I hope, I know I was a little bit all over the place with some of that lonesome dove, but it's going to come down to a couple of things here. And for anybody else that's like looking to get down the optimization hole, first, figure out what you're trying to look for, and then build a top list to try to find that stuff on a chart. Okay. Then take that top list. All right. So here's how we could do it as an exercise. Let me get rid of that. Let's load. So like I said, for when I was trying to make that one swing algo, I started here with my evening scan. All right. And I right clicked and I went to collaborate. And I took this link that's in here and I copied that link. All right. And then I came to new. I took an alert window. And it doesn't matter what the alert window is. All right. Because it's going to rename itself and everything else. So just click OK. All right. Don't worry about whatever the alert window defaults to be, because it's not going to be that in about 15 seconds here. So here we have just a random new alert window with whatever pre-configured stuff it decided to come with. I come back to configure. All right. And I'm going to erase what's in here for URL. And I'm going to add that URL here. And now it becomes all the filters that are in here. All right. And then you're going to have to come back to configure, and you're going to have to find an alert, because we're on a heartbeat. You don't want a heartbeat for automation. I'm not going to get into the reasons behind it right now. But figure what you want for an alert. You've got this entire list. The alert is the catalyst that's ultimately going to get you in that trade. It's the alert that triggers the boom. This stock did this thing at this exact second, triggering the buy order to go to your broker. Okay. And so you're going to have to go through these and figure what's going to work best for you, what you're trying to do. If you want some kind of consolidation break running up, these different crosses that are in here, consolidation breakdown, breakout. I would stay away from, if you're looking just to build a scan to scan, then fine. These pattern ones here are good. I would stay away from these for automation. All right. They're very okay at best. I think you want a trader's eye that's involved in these instead of letting an algo run those for you on their own. But these different range breaks that are in here, if you want a Fibonacci or linear regression to the trend, there's a lot of options here as far as an alert catalyst goes. And you're just going to have to, some of this will be trial and error and figuring out what's going to stick to the wall for you. And of course, questions on what any of this stuff is, you click that and you click help, and you're going to get a web page that's going to look like this. And it's going to bring you over to this, and it's going to give you a definition and all that good stuff like that there. So, that's the short and skinny as far as that stuff goes on that. And then, like I said, the first part is finding those kind of charts that you want. in the top list, I think that's the best place to start because there's less work that has to go into that. Plus, a top list is going to return you a ton of ideas instead of running history constantly. Now you can go through a whole list of stocks that are hopefully pointing you in a direction that you want, and then you start to tweak those filters to those charts that you're trying to find. And then you come into the ad alert, then you come into the back testing, then you come into the optimizations. It's learning, it's literally learning how to, like a baby starts off on their back or on their stomach, and they learn to flip to the other side, and then they learn to start to waddle around a little bit on their stomach and their back, and then they learn to backpedal and stand up, and then they learn to walk and crawl, and the next thing you know, they burn down the house. And by burn down the house, that's your rabbit hole that you're going to end up in. With those optimizations and back tests, and that's kind of how that goes really. So holy cow, we're at 4:30 already. That was quite the tirade I went on, I guess. Hopefully, the few people that are left in here find that informative. Um, yeah, that's exactly it, Dan. At the end of the summer, when that scan looked, 10,000 times better. And you're welcome, Lonesome Dove. This is what I do this for. If building a successful algo was easy, I'd have done it already. And I can tell you right now that, especially when I first started using trade ideas, there had to be 2, 3, 4 nights a week in the first year that I had trade ideas that I was falling asleep at my desk back testing and optimizing, thinking I was going to get the golden scan. And that's not to say it doesn't exist. It's just that if it was easy to do, I'd have done it. Done it already. So, don't get caught up in over optimizing the scan. If you start to hit a wall, like anything else in life, whether you're training to make the local golf team or something, whatever it is, start to hit a wall with something, back off for a few days, let your mind rest. Sometimes we do some of our best thinking, kind of passively when we're on other tasks with this stuff running in the back of our mind. So, keep those things in mind because trading's mental. It's all up here, whether it's creating an algo or doing the actual trading or any combination thereof. Um, so, all right, a good deal, perfect circle. And look, um, like anybody else, the same I'd say for you, perfect circle, is don't overinvest in any tool, including trade ideas. Start with the standard subscription. Come to these Q and A's and all that, and then if you find value through the Q and A's and talking and shooting back and forth, you can make an upgrade at any time, and you could always downgrade at any time too. But it's something that like most things in life, it's easier to add than take away. So that's kind of my 2 cents. I think it's bad to rush into most anything in life. Haste makes waste, and that's a saying. It's time as old as tales and things like that. And that's why I think that taking it step by step with something like trade ideas you know is as good as is good to do like anything else in life. So Dan, I also ran bug stock race. Probably if you make one without any cuss with columns except for the default symbol one, you crash when you start it. Interesting. It's funny. I have not made one stock race yet. It's just something I have I'm in all honesty, I can't believe how busy I am going through Brokerage Plus files and some other stuff that I've been doing that I've hardly traded in the last 2 weeks. Because I just can't. I can't put my attention to charts like I really want to. Um, the same thing, I've tried to move my Twitter account to only talk about charts and trade ideas and algos and stuff like that. And I'm almost putting out no Twitter content right now because I just haven't had time to do it. So, um, but yeah, I want to mess around with that stock chart thing. There's some internal debate within trade ideas whether or not it's a valuable ad for users or not. I can see both sides of the argument on it. I do think looking at data in multiple ways is a good idea, no matter what. I think some people are going to find some real value in that stock racing thing, and other people are going to be, "What the heck is this? Doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever." Um, let's see here. What do I want to do? Real time stock race. That's what I wanted to look at here. So, just curious what this is going to look like here. Delta total sending change from close. Now I want to do it. Interesting. It doesn't have. All right. So let's go with position and range percent. Sort on based on position and range percent and minutes to run. Let's go with 1. And let's go with, let's see, 20. Can I put 20 in there? Yeah. All right. Let's see what happens here. So this is my maiden voyage on this thing here. What's going to happen? Nothing. Oh, you know what? Because we're in the after hours. Silly me. Interesting. All right. Hold on. Let's see. How do I get back into a configure of this? Show race setup. Minutes to run. Stop. It's interesting stuff. I'm diving down a ridiculous rabbit hole now here live. Let's get rid of that completely. I'm not sure. Can I do this? Can I go back in time? How does that work? Time based on value. Minutes to run. Delta sending. I have to mess with this later. All right, hold on. One thing. Let's mess with this real quick. Let's show it off. Let's see if I can figure something out here. Let's go to load from cloud. Post market. Post market leaders version 2. I think that's something Barry gave me. And let's go to a real time stock race. I was told you want to expand this window a whole bunch before running the race. Change post market price. Let's try to get 20 cars in here. 1 minute race. All right, let's see what happens here. Let's see if this does something. Nothing. I'm doing something wrong here. I don't know what I'm doing. I'll play with this more tomorrow. Real-time stock race time. Live always. Real-time stock race. Goal time. Based on value. Run. Place cars. Ready to start. Nothing. All right, this is a to be continued one for tomorrow for us. We'll mess with this. We'll dive down this rabbit hole tomorrow. Like I said, I don't know exactly what I'm doing here, as this is, I've not used this function at all, and I haven't read up on it. I haven't been doing my homework, everybody. Server sort, delta value, symbol price, change from close, volume percent today. Yeah, I wonder if because it's in the post market, it's not going to give me anything. All right, we'll mess with that again tomorrow. So, all right, I'm going to wrap it up for today, everybody. Yeah, don't rat me out. All right, Perfect Circle and Dan, don't rat me out to the guys tomorrow during the noon Q&A that I haven't been messing with this. No, I'm teasing. I already told them I'm lost on the stock races stuff, so you're on your own for that. I'm gonna ping someone now and find out. But so I just excellent. I'm glad you found some value in it, Kevin. I like to always throw this out there. This is a live open forum. I don't come with any content any day. So I really appreciate everybody that comes in here and engages with me. I think it's much better, this forum, if I leave it open instead of, like our 5 o'clock webinars. Those guys come with some content done every day. So People that have questions during those, they might not get those answered in the format that they want. So I really, really appreciate everybody's engagement here. I do this Monday through Friday, 3:30 Eastern. Generally, I go about 4:30 Eastern, give or take, depending on the different days. Tomorrow, I will be out about 4:15 tomorrow. So it'll be abbreviated version tomorrow. This channel, this stream here, Barry opens it up for the Traders Room every day at 9 Eastern. So you can join him every day at 9 Eastern, and he runs that room until 3 o'clock every day. He'll shut down at 3 o'clock, and half an hour of the stream rest for, and I'm back here again at 3:30. So, um, all right, perfect circle, lips are sealed. I like that. So, again, I really appreciate everybody coming in here. Lonesome Dove, Battalion, Dan, Perfect Circle. Uh, who else was in here? Kevin. I believe I saw a newer user that I've been back and forth in emails, and Mr. Chris McKay was in here. I appreciate everybody coming in here, taking the time to hang with me, talk some stocks, talk some charts, talk some scanning, and we will do it all over again tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern. Take care. Have a great, great, great Monday evening, everybody. Bye-bye.